What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode. It is I, your host, as always, Adam Perez, coming through once again with a live review of Falcon and the Winter Soldier as we're about to dive into episode number 4 with only 2 more episodes, unfortunately, for us to certainly go in this season. I've been loving every episode that we've certainly gotten so far, and this episode certainly was no different, guys. So I'm certainly pumped to go ahead and dive into it, talk about it with you guys today. So thank you very much for joining me here on your Friday evening as we wrap up the week a little bit here. We've got some big live shows coming for you guys this weekend also, but love finishing off my Friday with a great Falcon and Winter Soldier episode. And listen, guys, as always, these are just my A-plus opinions, but at the end of the day, I definitely want to go ahead and know yours. So let your thoughts be known either in the live chat or the comment section box below. If you guys have any thoughts on this week's episode, certainly feel free to go ahead and chime in the comment section if you'd like to, and we'll definitely go ahead and have a great discussion here and just hear what some of your guys' thoughts are also. But man, you know, I gotta say a couple things here. While there are aspects to the show that I kind of miss from episode 1, like I would like to really kind of go back to the whole Bucky you know, making amends with people, right? We also had the stuff with Sam and Sarah and things like that, right? Trying to see that sort of that the struggle that they're certainly kind of going through. There are aspects of this season that I kind of wish would kind of go back to that kind of moment, but they have such great moments of depth throughout this whole entire season that I really sink into just every episode that they talk about. I am kind of glad that Bucky Barnes, for the most part, while he did have some great moments in this episode, don't get me wrong, I do feel as though he kind of was put to the back burner a little bit, trying to really let Sam kind of shine in this episode because I really loved all the stuff that Anthony Mackie really gave us. And if you ask me, I think Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson in here just put down a fantastic resume and just showed us as to why he's probably very much deserving of the Captain America shield, considering all the crazy stuff that we've kind of seen in this week's episode that we'll definitely go ahead and get into. But, you know, just his ideas in regards to trying to talk to Karli beforehand instead of just jumping right into the middle of battle, you know what I mean? Being very sort of sympathetic and empathetic and things like that. The idea that his first choice isn't necessarily always to fight, if you will, you know what I mean? So I love just the mindset, even answering the question from Zemo about, you know, would you have taken the serum? And he quickly answers the idea of no, right? Like Sam just really showcases why he certainly needs to be the one rocking the shield. You know, I mean, I get the idea of what Karli certainly represents for the flag smashers, right? And I love the fact that Sam even expresses the idea that he's on her side. He understands the idea of being sort of that person that has to deal with the struggle on a regular basis and understands how the establishment pushes back and that you need somebody that's going to be able to sort of represent you. So Sam understands her place for sure, but the idea of what Sam has been through as far as being a past Avenger, his approach to doing things first instead of just you know, thinking his way through instead of just force. I think he put down a great resume in this episode as to why he definitely should be deserving of the shield. But poor Shield, man, getting no respect in this in this season, I should certainly say, right? Seeing what it's been used for, seeing who's representing it and things like that, how people kind of view the Shield at this point. You know, we've even heard the idea of Sam and Bucky wanting to destroy it or burn it or whatever the case may be. We even hear the flag smashers talking about it in here, how since the world has changed, people don't really look at the flag the same anymore. You could probably see that in the way that people treat John Walker also, right? So and to end this episode with it seeing sort of it desecrated, if you will, right? With like the blood of this man on it being held by John Walker. Just some crazy stuff that you never really would think that you would see visually on the shield. It's a really striking image, and I thought it was beautifully handled and really well done in this episode too. It definitely make my jaw drop. And, you know, looking back on that particular scene too, it definitely does remind me, if you want to go back to like Captain America, a Civil War, when Cap also had that very same choice, right? Lifting up the shield and getting ready to thrust it down onto Tony Stark, and he was a better man for it, and he didn't do it, and he decided to go ahead and put his shield down. And you clearly see the differences here between Steve Rogers and John Walker, really who I don't want to say who makes the shield, but really the symbolism of the shield and how it's represented. And I thought I thought it was just really intense towards the end of this episode, and I really love what Wyatt Russell is certainly doing as John Walker, because it's just making you hate the guy even more. But going back to Anthony Mackie, I thought he did a brilliant job in here. I really loved his moments that he wound up having with Karli this week. For a character who I didn't really even care too much about, I was actually really surprised that they really spent majority of this episode making us feel for her as a character and really understand her a little bit better. So for that, I'm definitely grateful. But we'll definitely talk a little bit about Karli and John Walker here in just a minute. But I got to talk about this intro when we start off this episode here this week. The curing of the Winter Soldier is how I kind of put it. Even though, Bucky doesn't really get too much emphasis here in this week's episode, I thought they did a brilliant job with just this intro of explaining to us as the viewer as to how Bucky has overcome sort of his old ways, if you will, as the Winter Soldier, right? Always having to say a certain line of words in a particular order to go ahead and trigger that side of him, if you will. But to see Ao and the idea that Shuri from Wakanda also went ahead and actually helped cure him, I thought was a really emotional sequence for sure, right? Sebastian Stan just really showcased a fantastic sense of fear, right? Kind of going back down memory lane, understanding that he really has, or at least that fear of not having any control over yourself, right? We see the great flashback moments that we wind up seeing of him, maybe even thinking about all those terrible moments, right? You got to think that just that level of anticipation for him, maybe not wanting to even go through with this practice, right? Maybe not even believing that he's honestly cured and healed, but knowing that somebody's trying to help you by going down this path that is only going to lead to tragedy and death, right? That's got to be a very intense and emotional moment for him, and you get to see that showcased brilliantly here by Sebastian Stan. That fear, that anxiety of not wanting to kind of be lost again, if you will, by having the Winter Soldier be at the forefront, and then just that sense of relief at the very end that you're cured, right? That you can kind of move on with your life, that you see a light at the end of the tunnel. I thought he did a brilliant job in regards to just showcasing the emotional level for Bucky this week, and just really showcasing his mindset and really all that he went through during that time on Wakanda that we really didn't even know too much about, So I'm glad that they at least kind of threw that in there and also included the Dora Milaje this week, who was absolutely stellar, to be quite honest with you, having the Dora try and hunt you down, coming for Zemo, coming for that ass for sure. And I love the fight sequences in here. I thought they were absolutely beautiful. Seeing the Dora Milaje just beat Captain America's ass, I thought was just crippling, clearly for John Walker's mentality. I mean, did you see the expression on this man's face after the Dora Milaje just wiped the floor with him? I mean, he just felt completely hopeless and just completely utterly useless, right? The idea of they weren't even Winter Soldiers, and I can't even keep up with that, right? 3 Medal of Honors to pat myself on the back for, and this is the ass whipping that I sort of get. Don't matter what type of intense training John Walker took. I mean, it's almost like you could see the mental break right before you. It was unbelievable just to kind of see everything that John Walker has certainly been through in this episode. But the Dora Milaje in here, one, I thought was a great addition to include them here into the season, because I honestly wasn't even thinking about them so much when this series wind up dropping. But once you realize the connection between them and the Winter Soldier, and clearly Baron Zemo, them wanting him to answer for the death of King T'Chaka, it makes absolute sense that they certainly would be in here. And I'm so glad that they got showcased. They beat that ass. Great action sequence here this week. Just a great action overall, to be perfectly honest with you guys. A little bit about Baron Zemo this week. Clearly, this man knows what the F he's talking about. I can listen to Daniel Brawl talk all day long. I don't know about you guys, but we do get the opportunity to see Baron Zemo get his hands on the remaining serums and making that decision that he's been very adamant about since this season began, right? No more Winter Soldiers, no Super Soldier Serum, and he's smashing them to pieces here in this week's episode before he winds up getting stopped to a John Walker, who seemingly finds at least one vial of super soldier serum still waiting, and he winds up making that decision for himself with that fantastic tilt of the head. Like, yeah, this guy's he's lost it. He's lost his mind, guys, as he winds up slipping that serum in his pocket. And listen, I have a feeling we all knew that this was eventually going to happen, right? That John Walker would eventually break. But we were talking about this like the end of episode 2. I'm like, look at his 5 o'clock shadow growing in. He's already becoming a hard ass after that clean shaven interview we had at the beginning of episode 2. He's signing autographs, taking pictures, thanking himself for releasing Bucky, right? Getting in the face of Sam and Bucky at the end of episode 2, getting some balls on him, right? Like you could already see the tide turning for John Walker, and it was only a matter of time, guys. But that little click of the head, the slipping of the serum, the injection of the serum, and the killing of the man, it's over. It's over. And the ass whipping by the Dora Milaje. It was over for John Walker. And I really do have to give it up to Wyatt Russell here. I really do. Because to be able to fill those kind of Captain America shoes, one, is impossible. You got to go into this role knowing that people are just not going to like you. I mean, the guy's literally getting hate mail from people that think he's literally John Walker in real life. Like, come on, people. That just tells me that Wyatt Russell's really doing his job well. But there is something that I really enjoy about seeing the amount of disrespect that's just being shown to this man. I mean, people just shit on him everywhere that he goes. Well, let me see a couple things I wrote down. His partner's telling him his idea's no good. You got people telling him, chill out, man. Calm down, bro. Right? Not even calling him Cap, spitting on him. You got poor John Walker so dejected he's walking into the back of the line of the group, right? Like you barely see his A show he's Captain America. It's hidden behind Falcon's shoulder. Homeboy's not even getting any screen time. No one seems to let him in on the plans, right? No one wants to get him involved. He clearly can't handle super soldiers or people from Wakanda. I mean, this guy's got nothing going for him, like at all. And so just to kind of see, like, I can see why somebody like a John Walker would have a mental breakdown. Like, nobody is showing you any respect, and this is clearly not what you signed up for at all. So I'm loving what Wyatt Russell is truly doing as John Walker, and just really showing you Homeboy was probably a little bit crazy before he even got into the suit. And then the serum certainly isn't helping matters at all. And mind you, all this stuff happens even before the serum. So, he's already on that mental break when he winds up taking the serum. So it's just gonna intensify for him as the season continues to go on. But it's pretty unbelievable how mental this guy is wind up turning out to be. But I'm loving what we're getting from John Walker, despite the fact that a lot of people can't stand him, right? Because it's one of those things, and he's just one of those characters too, where it's like because of the fact that nobody respects him, he always has to be that person that's that does the power moves, to kind of get people to notice him, busting through the door. All right, I've had enough. You're coming with me, right? Like just the most outlandish things. He's always got to try and take control just so he can let people know he's at least in the room, right? But nobody cares. Everybody just looks at him like, John, chill out, bro. Like, you're just annoying at this point. Like, calm down. He does it all the time. Whenever he's not being listened to, big power move. Got to whip out that dick to show you how important I am. And nobody cares, John. Nobody cares. And clearly John Walker is certainly seeing that for himself. But great stuff here from Wyatt, honestly. This episode, just hearing Baron Zemo talk about what the idea of a super soldier means, the idea of, these supremacists, if you will, the people that have this need for power. It starts off as, a serum. Then all of a sudden you want the power. And then all of a sudden you turn into, what did he say? Like the Nazis. And, he even calls the Avengers and things like that. The idea of just people who want this absolute power, if you will. He tries to go down the list of other people and saying there's a reason why there's only sort of one Steve Rogers, right? Because all the other past experiments or the use of super soldier serum have led to just absolutely terrible things. And I love the fact that this episode really kind of focuses on that a little bit. You get to see two people here, one person without super soldier serum, or at least now has one in John Walker. And you also have Karli on the other side, who also has this serum inside of you, right? One person who's a soldier, one person who is just, just a regular person who has dealt with struggle in her life. You know what I mean? And it really shows you just the complete polar opposites of two people now having to deal with the idea of super soldier serum inside of them, and really trying to figure out what is their outcome going to be, considering the fact that Steve Rogers was really the only person that's ever taken this serum and has actually done any good with it, right? So this moment actually brought me back to a Captain America movie in the first Avenger, if you guys recall. While for me, the first Avenger was not one of my favorite Captain America movies, it actually for a really long time was not one of my favorite MCU movies, honestly. The first Avenger for me is a film that actually I kind of came a little bit more around to and had a little bit more of appreciation for after Avengers Endgame, after I went ahead back and rewatched it. And there are a couple of really great scenes and a couple of really great lines that continue to stick out to me. But one of the scenes that I always enjoyed from the first Avenger was the doctor that was getting ready to inject Steve Rogers with the serum. His sit-down conversation with Steve about why he was chosen. Right. They go a little bit into the discussion of has the serum even worked before? And the doctor explains to him about the Red Skull, how, he worked for Adolf Hitler. He took the serum for himself. And yeah, it gave him abilities and, strength and things like that. But it also changed him. And it also had other effects also. And it heightened who the person was on the inside at the end of the day. And it's a realization that the doctor wind up having that this serum increases or, at least elevates who you are certainly as a person. And I love his explanation that he winds up giving to Steve as to why it works for him per se. So I want to go ahead and bring up this clip real quick just to kind of go through this. And then we'll talk a little bit about Karli along with John Walker here. So let's just kind of go through this clip.
This is why you were chosen. Because a strong man who has known power all his life may lose respect for that power. But a weak man knows the value of strength and knows compassion.
Thanks, I think.
So you immediately get to see the differences here, right? Somebody who already knows
Whatever
power,
happens
getting
tomorrow, you
more
must promise
power,
me one thing.
compared to somebody who's getting power who's never experienced it before.
That you will stay who you are. Not a perfect soldier, but a good man.
Not a perfect soldier, but a good
To the
man.
little guys.
Very, very, very.
No, wait, what I am doing? No, you have a procedure tomorrow. No fluids.
All right, we'll drink it after.
No, I don't have a procedure tomorrow. Drink it after, drink it now.
Drink it now. I always love that scene. I always love that scene. And I think it's also, you look at the two situations here, right? John Walker, what does the doctor say? The idea of, just promise me one thing, that you're not necessarily going to be the perfect soldier, right? That's not who we want you to be. It's the good man that you are on the inside. And you get to even see that conversation happen before your eyes with John Walker and his partner Battlestar in here. The idea that even Battlestar references his 3 medals of honors, right? Like, hey man, if you took the serum, can you imagine, right? Talking about the soldier aspect about who he is. He does reference the idea of some of the decision makings that he's got to make when he's on the battlefield and things like that. But the idea of you're focusing so much on the idea of you being a soldier that have we had the opportunity to really look inside to see who John Walker is certainly as a person. And now that he's taken the super soldier serum and all the crap that this man has been throughout this season so far, you can see where the snap certainly would come from. That mental break would certainly come from, and really see the path that the serum is now sort of putting John Walker on, right? Whereas now you look at somebody like Karli, who we've got, again, great scenes with Sam Wilson in here, who's trying to kind of help guide her along the way and really understand what's your place in this role, Karli, right? Like, you came from nothing. She talks about her relationship with Mama. I can't. What the heck is her name? hold on, I just wrote it down. Danya, Mama Danya is what she referred to her as, right? Clearly, the idea of Karli being homeless, maybe abandoned at a very young age, Danya bringing her in. Clearly, this is what Danya does. Has kind of grown a little bit of like I don't, you know, like a shelter, if you will, for kids and for adults, and place, you know, for people to get back on their feet and things like that. You know, so Karli has come from nothing before. She's experienced the idea of loss and things like that, right? And understands what it means to kind of live that struggle. And so very similar to Steve Rogers here, you give somebody like that the ability that hasn't had power. What are you going to do with it now that you have it? Are you going to try and seek power, or are you going to use it to be the compassionate sort of good person that understands what it means to kind of come from nothing and work your way, that sort of thing? You know what I mean? So I do find it really interesting to see those two perspectives, and having somebody like a Sam Wilson, I don't want to say to mold her or shape her, but at least ask her sort of some of the tough questions to try and really figure out how she wants to approach this for herself. You know, are you going to go down that path? You know, now that she doesn't have the serum, clearly that stops her. But, you know, would you have gone down that path of creating an army with all that serum that you have? Now that you don't have that serum, what are you going to do with your abilities? I am kind of curious to know, does Karli even make it out of this series alive? Like, I'm trying to figure out if there's a connection as to, is there like a Marvel comic book character that she maybe represents that goes on to do other things, or you know what I mean? I am wondering if the fact of her having a Winter Soldier serum, is she going to play a pivotal role in future MCU stuff? So I am kind of curious, like, is that somebody that they just kill off at the end? Does she die sort of a martyr, somebody that, you know, tried to fight for the oppressed, if you will, but only to kind of fall? Or will she go on to have a bigger purpose or a bigger role in the MCU kind of going forward? So I just love that conversation and that theme that we wind up having of, you know, I don't want to say what makes a good soldier, but I guess the impact of the super soldier serum, and how it certainly can affect each person differently, and just really putting that up against the reason why Steve Rogers was chosen compared to why John Walker was chosen, or why Karli certainly has it in her bloodstream also. So interesting stuff. I just found it really fascinating that they dove so deep into this week's episode in regards to that. But let's see here. A couple other things that I definitely would like to bring up, just some quick honorable mentions. The power broker winds up getting mentioned in here. Talk about gonna be pissed. He was clearly wanting to go ahead and get that serum back, and now it's certainly have been destroyed. So I'm still trying to figure out who the power broker is. They definitely have not mentioned this person by name. Still haven't shown us any photos of them. Last week, one of my theories was the fact that maybe the power broker is Sharon Carter in some way or another. I'm also kind of leaning towards, and hear me out here, I don't know why, I'm also leaning a little bit towards maybe Norman Osborn. I am wondering if this is going to be MCU's way of maybe opening that door a little bit. We have seen Norman Osborn play a significant role in the MCU, along with some Avengers storylines in the past. You know, his Dark Avengers. I think he probably even had a Thunderbolts team to himself at some particular point in time, if I'm not mistaken also. So, you know, if you need another big villain, why not Norman Osborn, right? So those are just some of my suggestions in regards to who that could certainly be. But one of the other things that I continue to enjoy about this episode is they continue to lay the groundwork as to how chaotic this world is that we've kind of come into. You know, we haven't yet seen an MCU movie on the big screen dealing with the blip as of yet, right? We've kind of seen everything. Well, I guess with the exception of maybe Spider-Man. Spider-Man did show people popping back up, right? But it definitely wasn't in that chaotic vision that they've kind of expressed here in the Winter Soldier, like, at all. Seeing all the chaos, the idea of really why Karli is fighting, because of the fact that, for 5 years, people of the world had to sort of reimagine how this world was, right? Moving in closer together, probably tightening up, if you will, right? People taking up other people's old houses, you know what I mean? And like really 5 years of this. It's not like this happened for 3 months, you know what I mean? Like people honestly thought that their lives were going to be different, and literally planted themselves and started to kind of grow a life for themselves in whatever ways that they certainly needed to. And imagining the idea of millions, if not billions of people just coming back, just being plopped back in there and be like, hey man, thanks for keeping my bed warm, but I gotta go. You gotta go now. I'm back. You know what I mean? And then really just displacing all these people, right? And seeing exactly how those displaced people are in fact treated. The fact that Karli in last week's episode attacked that supply place, talking about the idea of, you've been sitting on 6 months worth of supply, not giving it to anybody. And then you look at this episode here specifically, and one of the guys that's at this refugee center or wherever he's at mentions the idea that 6 months ago, we asked for all these supplies and additional teachers, and these people haven't provided us with the necessary stuff that we've personally been needing. And so you can see why Karli would do the actions that she would, to at least begin with, right? Somebody needs to stand up for these people that certainly are displaced. Probably why Sam Wilson agrees with her, but her actions after that, the killing of people, right? Definitely going a little bit too far, but you immediately get to see just the chaos that's really ensuing in this MCU world. And for me, I really would love to see a movie that focuses on that, or maybe really deals with that a little bit more. I'm wondering maybe if the Eternals will kind of mention the blip a little bit as well. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of cosmic and, Jack Kirby elements to the Eternals for sure. But I do believe that somewhere in there, I believe there is like a love story or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's blip related. I don't know. I really do like just seeing. I just hope that this isn't just seen in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I do hope that they're having that mindset to go ahead and showcase it, how chaotic it also was in movie form, kind of going forward. So some really great stuff, man. I really did love this stuff. Just seeing Zemo's perspective of the super soldier serum, getting to kind of see how two different people in John Walker and Karli kind of use that serum for themselves. How different of two people they certainly are. Seeing Anthony Mackie have a great performance in here as Sam Wilson, having to really guide Karli, thinking first instead of just rushing into things, really laying down the groundwork as to really showcasing why he should be the one carrying the shield. The Dora Milaje in here also with some great action and great emotional moments for our intro. Just incredible stuff. The show continues to impress me on. There is a little bit of a part of me that does kind of want to go back to some of the smaller problems, like, Sarah, I got to help you keep this boat, girl, got to help you keep this roof over your head, or what's Winter Soldier trying to continue, how is he going to continue to make amends to the people that he winds up hurting? Maybe that's something that we get in like an epilogue, to kind of close off their stories for this season at the very end. But who certainly knows? Other than that, though, man, I think that they're just knocking out of the park when it comes to just continuing to world build, having great emotions, really sinking their teeth into just this lore of Captain America, and really just the idea of the symbolism of the shield, and what it certainly stands for, and really the placement of how Bucky and Sam really fit into all this at the end of the day. So I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. But let me see. We might have some comments. We got Tyler. What's up, Tyler? Yeah, Tyler says, smells like a Thunderbolt backdoor pilot. There's something going on here. There is something going on here. I did hear some theories, and again, these are just theories. First off, let me change this color, man, because we rocking the red, white, and blue here. You know what I'm saying? We got to change this. Yeah, we rocking the red, white, and blue, baby. So yeah, let's go ahead and showcase that a little bit. So a couple of theories. Somebody was telling me that, again, we talked really highly about Karli this week. Somebody that's, again, I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of or really care to, learn about, but they really did a fantastic job. I think it's Aaron Kellyman who plays who plays Karli in here. I thought she did a brilliant job. She was also in Solo, the Solo movie. She's also going to be in the Willow series, also, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So Erin Kellyman's definitely getting some work for sure, and she's really showcasing her range as an actress. But I really enjoyed her in here, and I continue to enjoy her learning about her character. But there is a theory going around that she might be maybe a future Thunderbolt member. I really have no idea. I'm still trying to figure out what Baron Zemo's certainly up to. I think last time we saw him, he wound up escaping. Yeah, he was knocked out. They found him, right? Because he got knocked out by the shield. But yeah, so I'm kind of curious what's going to happen with Zemo. I am wondering if this is going to be his way of trying to create a Thunderbolts, right? Like, is him and all of a sudden Karli, are they going to be on the same page, understanding themselves? You know what I mean? Understanding each other. Even though he says the idea of no more super soldiers, maybe he just takes up some of the super soldiers that Karli's got. You know what I'm saying? So we'll definitely see. Mordegon, what's up, Mordegon? Appreciate you coming through. He says, great episode. Wyatt Russell is killing it as Walker. He absolutely is. I definitely agree with you here too. The ending with Walker was with the bloody shield was such a chilling image. It really was. I almost was going to go ahead and use it on the thumbnail this week, but I was like, you know what? I don't want to get too spoilerish, right? Like, for people that didn't see the episode, I'd rather them experience that image for themselves, because it is intense. It's definitely not an image that you would think you would see the Captain America shield ever in. That's why in the description I was like, is the shield's legacy destroyed? Like, what has John Walker done with this? And now that everybody across the entire world has seen what this man has done, right? Phones pulled out everywhere. You're not getting away with this one, John. Yeah, he's going down that dark rabbit hole. Yeah, chilling image for sure. And Wyatt Russell is this is one of the reasons why they brought Wyatt Russell on to play this role. You know what I mean? Doing a fantastic job. You also say Zemo is quickly becoming one of my favorite MCU villains, which is crazy considering the fact that I don't want to say some of the heat or backlash, but I feel like I have heard some people that were complaining and say in Civil War that they didn't really like the usage of Baron Zemo and how he came across. And to that regards, I can understand maybe the usage or the execution of how it came across in the movie. But when you really look back and seeing what Zemo has done and his impact into the MCU, and just seeing him have more time to shine in here also, Zemo is just thinking one step ahead regardless. So I'm really fascinated to see what he's going to turn into. But yeah, I will definitely agree with you there. Zemo will definitely be on people's top 4 or top 3 list of villains for sure. And you also say, I don't think she will survive, but also fear that Walker won't make it. I feel like Karli, I can see not surviving. I can see her having a very tragic ending. That's one of the reasons why I brought up the idea that I think that she might sort of die like a martyr. You know what I mean? Fighting for a cause. I hope I'm wrong. I would be interested to see what they do with her afterwards, right? If this is in fact going to turn into something Thunderbolt related, you're trying to take out as many super soldiers in this world as possible to kind of continue to make Captain America feel relevant to a certain extent. I don't know what's going to happen with Karli, but I don't feel so good about Karli, as I do feel like Walker will probably walk away from this clean. The idea of just him being I'm sure maybe the U.S. government will try and that's clearly not something you're going to try and cover up. Everybody clearly saw what you did, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some people out there that try and put a spin on his actions. You know what I mean? Leave it up to some people out there to try and, say his actions were, necessary or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? If anything, I could see him been taken down a notch. No longer Captain America. Maybe imprisoned. Maybe he goes on to be something else in like the U.S. agent, like comic books. But I can see Walker walking away from this not unscarred. He definitely will. I have a feeling maybe locked away. But we'll definitely have to see Mordegon for sure. But thank you for all your comments, guys. I really appreciate it. But yeah, guys, 2 more episodes left to go. We're almost at the end, unfortunately. But I've been truly really loving this season. I haven't felt like I've watched a bad episode yet so far. But again, at the end of the day, guys, these are just my A+ opinions. I definitely want to go ahead and know yours. If there's any particular moments that I might have missed, or any other character moments, or anything that you guys certainly want to talk about storyline wise, definitely go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below after this certainly airs. And we'll definitely be back next Friday evening for you guys as well, for another live review and discussion of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So until next time, guys, do me a big favor. If you want to follow us on social media, right here at A+ Opinions, very active over on our Facebook page as well as Twitter. You can also catch us on Instagram as well as Twitch. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so yet. And of course, if you love our content, hit that big like button. That thumbs up certainly goes a long way. But until next time, guys, do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you later. Bye.